What's up, Jazz Plus? Welcome back to another edition of Shoot the Shot. A very, very special guest, Jazz alumni, Andrey Kirilenko. Andrey, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me here.
What's your coffee choice today?
Latte?
Latte? I'm doing double espresso. Cheers.
There you go.
Needed
nice.
that.
That's nice.
I needed that. Okay, so let's go back to the first day you came to Utah. Give me your initial impressions of Utah when you got here.
Oh my God. It was scary because, growing up in Russia and watching basketball once a week for an hour, it's like a short game that you can see. And it was like a different play. Like you've seen the game Michael Jordan against Karl Malone and John Stockton and like Patrick Ewing, David Robinson. Then you come in here, you're like, oh my God, like something is like itchy.
Yeah.
And start playing. I think it took me probably 15 games to really get a feeling that I belong here.
Yeah.
Because before it was like, I wouldn't say scared, but it was like something is off. Like something is like not right. I'm on a different plane. And another thing is not on the basketball, because basketball, obviously when you're on the floor after like 10 minutes, you get used to it. But coming to different country,
Right.
I never lived outside of Russia. It's a different mentality, different culture. Moscow is a huge megapolis with like over 12 million people. Utah is more like smaller size, but spread out in a valley. It's way different. So it took me some time to adjust.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I know when I went to college in the U.S., it was I felt like a fish out of water. Nowhere near the experience you had. Speaking of Russia, who's the best Russian basketball player of all time?
I would say Sergey Belov. He was Olympian champion in '72. So he was like a big name, going over the years. He was a guy who was bringing the Olympic fire into the stadium in 1980 in Moscow. We have few more like big names later in 1988. Arvydas Sabonis, obviously. I know he's Lithuanian, but back in the day it was USSR.
Yeah.
So we all grew up with like big name USSR names.
Which NBA players did you idolize or look up to, or maybe model any of your game after? You had a very unique playing style, but you had to have taken something from different people. Like, who were players when you were growing up that you were modeling yourself after on the floor?
I can't say that I was really idolized somebody just because it was a time of Michael Jordan.
Right.
And as I said, like there was not much information. Right now you can open up like internet, you can find anybody. But back in the days, you have so small information. So we all grow up as want to be like Mike. But again, I can't say that I want to be like Mike because my style is definitely not Michael Jordan's style. Probably Scottie Pippen was a little bit closer, like what I was, presenting myself, like a forward with a more defensively oriented mind, but at the same time you can try to do anything on the floor.
Yeah.
Probably not as sharp scorer, but you can score if when it needed.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay, a couple Jazz questions for you. What is your favorite Jazz uniform that you played in? Because you actually were at a very interesting point in history. I think your first year you played in the Mountain jersey, and then you transitioned to the navy blue and light blue. You played in a bunch of different uniforms. Favorite one?
I loved the Mountain jersey the most, though it was the most uncomfortable one.
Why?
Because it's like when you get sweat a little bit, the Mountain becomes heavy. So it was like a little bit forcing you
this
forward.
Insider info that no one knew. The Mountain got
heavy. and on the belt you have like the little piece. It's like I don't know how you call it, like a buckle. It's like a buckle, like cowboy buckle. So it was like a little bit weird. Like when you move, it's like always touching your body, always like kind of like pinching you. It's become heavy.
This is the insider info that you come here for. No one knew that uniform actually used to get heavy. We have to have you try on the new Mountain jerseys. Hopefully they don't get as heavy because that might be impacting our performance.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, all right, we got to have you check them out. Last Jazz question. I heard a story, and I want to know if it's true. Did you tell Coach Sloan that you play 47 minutes for him and 1 minute for the fans?
It is true, but everybody presented it as like it was a conflict.
Oh, I don't think it's a conflict. I think it's amazing.
It was just a funny, like I think we won the game, and we were in the locker room like at the end of the game. I was like analyzing, like saying, and he mentioned something about like flash pass I made to somebody. I don't know what was in my head at that time, and I said like, Coach, 47. He's like, what 47? Like 47 minutes for you, 1 for the fans.
I love that. It's actually a great.
But I disagree with my point of view sometimes because I really want players to play simple sometimes, like when the game on the line, like when you have a like comfortable points when you're leading, you can play and you can show some. But when it's game on the line, I would probably avoid some flashy moves in the favor of simple finish.
Yeah, you're not endorsing it all the time. The part that I like is that I just think that there are so many moments where you can just maintain a little bit of a sense of humor, and it gets you through the long season.
I agree.
Like he didn't probably mean it in a bad way, and you didn't mean it in a bad way, and it ends up being funny. And when taken out of context, everything gets weird. Show love is our team mantra. It's something we talk about a lot with our players. I'm going to give you the floor for 30 seconds to show love to one person in your life. People at home get to know somebody that means something to you.
In the basketball, court?
It can be anything. Anything.
Well, you can't avoid talking about family, because my family always been the main thing in my life, which is supporting me in my basketball career, off the court, and my family, helped me to go through that tough time, to adjust in a different environment. I don't want to say it was like very hard, but it was different. Both of my kids who was here, they born in Salt Lake City. The other 2 kids born in New York and Moscow. But I think having a family which loves you, supports you, really gives you that extra spark or extra something in your career and like outside the basketball. So I would emphasize, if you have a family that loves you, or like family who really supports you, it's really something good for you. It's the things which is a great addition.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the last section is called Ask Me Anything. You can ask me anything that you want. I'll be as honest as I'm allowed to be.
Okay, I have a very interesting question. Actually, we talked with Jeff Hornacek just before the podcast. I'm very surprised that not many NBA team, even though nobody in the NBA, trying to play a lot of zone press. Mm-hmm. And I'm not only saying zone press like when you stay in defensive, but press full court.
Right.
I'm not saying full court like all game long.
Right.
But like I never seen. It's like press. Once while you're pressing, you're coming back, you're staying in zone. So because in my opinion, if you can play zone with such athleticism that NBA players have, it would be a huge advantage.
Yep.
But I never seen teams even trying to play.
No,
for me, it's such a surprise because I'm coming from the Europe, and it's always like a changing pace of the game, changing zone defense, individual defense. So you're breaking the rhythm for the team, and I'm surprised that I haven't seen that much in NBA.
No, I agree with you. We have played some zone over the last 2 years for that reason, to try to break the rhythm. But I think your point about full court zone, I truly think that there is an element of we're just doing what has always been done. And I mean that in a bad way. Like, I think we're not adventurous enough at times, and we...
Like everybody gets used to it.
Well, yeah, and we also see how it can go wrong. Like your brain tells you the worst case scenario. So the other team has Russell Westbrook, and you go, we're going to press full court. And the coaches are going, well, he's so much faster than everybody else. What if he just runs by us, and then we're at a disadvantage? And it's like, well, he's running by us in man-to-man too. I think that's where as coaches, we can do a better job of not worrying about what people will say if it goes wrong. Because I think when you do something non-traditional and it goes wrong, people are very quick to pounce on you. And so that's probably something I have to break myself of. Jazz Plus, this is a promise. If the Jazz start playing full court zone, this is where it happened first. No, because it's a good point. It's like, why not?
But you've seen, like, for example, you've seen the March Madness right now. Teams are pressing full court. Probably 80% of the time they're creating something that's stealing the ball, or they're putting the other team in a tough position, and maybe 20% they got a fast break, easy bucket.
Right.
But why you have to use those only like last 15, 20 seconds to start pressing? You can do it during the game.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, you create a lot of chances for your team. I'm like very surprised.
This is great. I'm glad that we came out of this with something tangible for our team. Andrey, thanks for coming to spend a little bit of time, man. Always good to see you. You are always welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome home, man. Jazz Plus, keep showing love. See you next time.